And what better way to rally the country than with a big old parade? That's right, America is back. Men are working again, clearing out cobwebs and dusting off the buildings that were already here in America before the settlers arrived. And for being good little Boy Scouts and going along with the program, Prohibition comes to an end in 1933. Nothing more essential during a reset than a nice, crisp, large glass of Grandpappy's Giggle Water. And not just that 3.2 shit, I'm talking real beer. Let's hear it for resets. How about some of that good old ragtime to help these white boys get their wicks dipped? It's always important to get the girls nice and jazzed before walking them down Cupid's alley. Applying a little tear is a sure shot at getting some of the rabbit's pie. Yes, we are getting zozzled tonight. Ah, crap. It was only a Monday. Oh, God, why did we drink so much last night? Alright, you got this. Just brush your teeth, take a shower. You've been in worse situations than this before. Get yourself good and groomed so nobody knows you want to die. Now that you're nice and fixed up, enjoy some coffee and eggs before your daughter ruins them with her bullshit attitude. With a little bit of life back in you, it's time to put your big boy pants on and get to work. The forgotten man is off the breadlines and onto the job. WPA stands for Work Projects Administration, but critics say it really means we poke along. The shovel leaning becomes the target for anti-administration wits. But if there's one thing this government knows best, it's how to silence opposition. Few object to the Civilian Conservation Corps. It takes thousands of young men away from the cities where there's nothing for them to do, and puts them in the government camps, where there's plenty to do. On the farmland, a paradox. Government agents preach the gospel of crop control. Farmers are paid to not plant. Millions of acres of wheat, corn, and cotton are left unplanted. What could go wrong? For the troubles man makes for himself, nature adds some of her own. Nothing artificial here, just ruthless Mother Nature whipping up a dust bowl. These actors, I mean farmers, better get inside. The dust storms bring darkness at noon. Lady, can you please get control of your child? We are filming a serious dust bowl here. All your hard work turned to dust. Even the livestock are like, what the crap is this? Seriously, what did you people do to the grass? As a new dawn rises, the damage is revealed. There's no choice but to pack up and move your family to California. Yep, no art department used for this production. Just a dust bowl-stricken family painting signs and praying for better days. Hang tight, children. It's gonna be a long and treacherous ride to the West Coast from here. Thousands of families, known as Okies, are forced to flee. The children are taking this especially hard. This mother hunkers down in the shade to keep her baby doll cool so it doesn't overheat before they arrive to a new and mysterious place. They huddle and talk together and share their lives. They aren't farmers anymore, but migrants. Oh, that's the good shit right there, isn't it? Meanwhile, while everyone is struggling, the Roosevelts are having a good old time in Hyde Park on the Hudson. Despite inherited wealth and privileged position, Roosevelt somehow acquired the common touch that endears him to the common man. Once he said to Orson Welles, "You and I are the best two actors in America." Much bigger than your penis, yes, we know. His second home is in Warm Springs, Georgia, where he and his homeboys bathe in the mineral waters. Wow, can we get some goggles for these guys? Solid throw there, sir. Though his New Deal programs have been considered unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, it puts millions of men to work. So why don't you all shut your fucking mouths, aight? All across this nation, Roosevelt has been considered a gay crusader who has led his people out of the hardships without the use of a dictator or a revolution. And reset people sure do love their celebrities. Don't mind that his spending has increased the public debt by billions. Election night 1936. Roosevelt wins his re-election in a landslide. Again. Is this the party of the century or the sinking of the Titanic? During his campaign, Roosevelt said, "This nation is on a rendezvous with destiny." Yes, this country most certainly is. In this video, we'll poke our heads around a town in Germany I probably won't pronounce correctly. Then we'll examine what remains of Crusader castles in the Middle East. But before we start, I would like to thank whichever subscribers trolled Carol over at Never Lose Truth and got her to watch the never-ending WPA. Carol does tackle enough heavy subjects to drive the average person insane, so I'm happy to hear we brought a little comedic relief to her day. Here we are at Idar Orbstein, a gemstone town in Germany for Agathe and Jasper. But the most fascinating features are the castles on a hill and a church down below that's being swallowed by a cliffside. According to local legend, the church was built by a grief-stricken brother from a noble family. Both Wikipedia and a second online source failed to mention a date for all of this. The two brothers fell in love with the same woman, and because they didn't communicate that with each other, neither one was aware of the other's feelings. The older brother left town for business, and the younger one swooped in and sealed the deal. The younger brother was set to marry the love of his life. When the older brother returned home, the announcement threw him into a rage, and he pushed his younger brother to his death out a castle window. The murderer was unable to regain his peace of mind until he chiseled out a hollow space into the rocks, with his own bare hands in the same spot where his unfortunate victim splattered, and in this unusual location, built a house of God. Those who are not sold on this legend believe it was a fortification from the 1300s that was converted into a church. And the first thing that I would like to know is how old are these trees in the area? We do have vegetation growing on this thing, but it doesn't look like it's been doing it for very long. And I can only imagine how many passageways exist inside this church. What sorcery do we have here? It looks like we have a pickle up in the sky with a mycelium network going into this staff. And then you have Adam and Eve as ETs, but I'm sure it's encoded with all sorts of craziness. And it is interesting that there is no real record of this building. From the inside, we actually have the cliff as part of the wall. Here's a nice little arts and crafts project, sort of in the shape of a ball right here. Another one there, another one there, this one encaved. Up here we have a gorgeous organ on the inside of this. Our lovely castle on the top. They just magically go from being brick to then kind of globbish and then right into mountain. I could only imagine there are tons of passageways that are off limits to the average person. Check out this castle back here. I'm sure there's lots of passageways in that one too. So here is inside one of the castles, but check out the ceiling.
For me personally, it kind of matches what we're seeing out here. Here we have the stonework. The higher you go, it turns into this. And also just looking at the floor, well, it looks quite a lot like the ceiling inside the caves at Shoshin Butte in California. And real quick, we'll just get a bird's eye view of this lovely area. There's the pizzeria, here's the castle, and the church somewhere in here. So up next now, we'll check out some medieval castles in the Middle East. So we'll start with this one in Syria. Now I know some of my friends will just see erosion and erosion only when they look at this. Yes, there is erosion, but how the castle got to this state was not by simply eroding. And quite frankly, I'm even amazed that they are listing this as a castle. You could easily say this is geology and people will believe it. So what do we got in Cyprus? Crumbling castles up on a hill. And universally, like most castles, we go from our stonework right into rocks. It really never fails. Same with this castle here, high up on a hill. And when I look at this rock looks identical to the rocks we see at Turner Falls in Oklahoma. Same type of coloring, same type of texture. And as always, we have vegetation that doesn't look like it's been here for that long. I do accept the idea that it's just the climate though. Also in Cyprus, we have Kantara Castle, also identical to the rest. Another castle in northern Cyprus. What more needs to be said? Ruins on top, ruins on the side, giant wall, damn. And this is a bit similar work to what we see when it comes to the CCC and their fire towers. Except for this one has a butt-ton more of pockets of survival. Here's a doorway, here's some windows and arches, here's another arch, here's a roof, windows, here's more of it down here. So I can only assume all of this glob here is also the building, and it's magically eroding. Here we have Pharaoh's Island, which is in Egypt, and I'm willing to bet money all of this rock is easy to carve your name into. Thebes in Egypt is also worth mentioning, as we have plenty of evidence that you can go inside all of these structures. Here's some fascinating monuments, also in Egypt. I'm sure they were once devices. Apparently the Native Americans were out at this one because we got some wood tacked on here. I can only imagine these were also devices. At the very least, giant candle holders. Here are castle remains in Israel. Another one in Israel that is now a national park. Here was once a fortification, but I'm sure it's still all here. It's just right in the ground. More castles up on a hill in Jordan. A very fascinating building style for the old world. Another one located in Jordan, Castle Montreal, also in Jordan. Nothing changes, we're up on a hill. The whole entire hill looks like bricks. And if you're gonna talk about Jordan, you cannot ignore Petra. They had no problem turning all these cliffs into their homes. And not just that, doing it very beautifully. Absolutely fantastic. Could you imagine this place in its heyday? Here is a castle in Lebanon. Another one in Lebanon. What more needs to be said? More from Lebanon, vegetation that's growing on here, but not a lot of it. Here is the St. Louis Castle, also in Lebanon. The Toron Castle, also in Lebanon. A castle in Syria. Another one in Syria. Here's that same castle, and it kind of looks like it was flowing downwards. Another one in Syria. A castle in Turkey. The rocks down below don't have a whole bunch of vegetation growing on them. Another one in Turkey. Turkey, 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 Turkey. And I could go a whole nother video with this one. Castles in Iran. Nothing changes. They're all up on a hill. Not a ton of vegetation on those rocky hills. You could easily say this is geology. People will believe it. You could probably say the same for this one. And I would say if there's one country I really want to visit, it would probably be Iran. The Iranian people seem very similar to Americans, and a lot of beauty in their country. Check out this one here. This looks very similar to what we just saw with Germany. Wow, this was a castle. I'm definitely becoming speechless because the only thing I can do is keep repeating myself here. It's all the same. Nothing changes. And check this one out in Iran. These are freaking hoodoos. Here in America, we say that geology did this. Over in Iran, they're acknowledging this was a building. I mean, come on now. This is worse than living in the Twilight Zone. This is the stupid zone. Another one. Wow. Just like everywhere else, Iran gets chemtrails. Here is a magically eroded castle. I would imagine these are Silk Road ruins, because they look just like it. It is never ending with Iran and these castles on hills. They are everywhere. Everywhere. It doesn't stop. I want it to stop. Make it stop. Help! I bet some hobbits were living in this one. Never seen that before. That's pretty unique. Just kidding. Another one you could easily pass off as geology, but we are acknowledging this is a castle. Here's another one they're identifying as a castle. Okay, I should probably really stop now. So that was castles in the Middle East, but we only looked at a fraction of them, so you can only imagine what the rest look like.
On July 25th, 2020, Ridley Scott and Academy Award winner Kevin McDonald invite you to be part of Life in a Day, a historic global documentary capturing a single day on Earth. Videos from around the world will be woven into a YouTube Originals feature film premiering at the 2021 Sundance Film Festival. This is an incredible opportunity to capture what a day in 2020 looks like from your perspective, and connect with your fans in a unique and collaborative time capsule. Oh, this is fantastic. Count me in. What's a day in the life like for G.W. Nichols? Every morning starts at 7 a.m. The first thing I do when I get out of bed is apply a fresh face mask, as the one I had on during sleep smells like a baby took a poop in my mouth. After brushing my teeth, I enjoy my English breakfast tea with soy creamer. Then it's off to YouTube, where I'll spend 8 to 12 hours soaking in content and leaving comments.
Did you do this? I remember my first billboard, and it was the coolest feeling in the world. So I got you the biggest, most prominent billboard that I could find. And when I say it was me and Amara. She chipped in. Are you serious, babe? What the fuck, dude? Thank you so much.
Dear Mr. Logan Paul, that was so nice of you and that porn star to help support your best friend's book about overcoming drug addiction by surprising him with a billboard in downtown LA. Sometimes I wish I would have been an oxycodone junkie, so people would have a reason to feel sorry for me, and in return, I could use that weakness as a crutch to capitalize on. People these days sure do like a good underdog story with the bar set low. Keep up the great vids, brother. P.S. What do you advise is the quickest method for getting sluts to watch my channel? Doja Cat has really evolved since her track Boss Bitch. Can't believe Twitter made such a big deal over her preferences for white men. Hashtag immune to cancel culture.
A number of states have begun mandating face masks in outdoor public areas as well as indoors. Among them now, New Jersey.
It shouldn't matter if you're in